Hello, everyone. My name is Anae Agostini, CEO of CID Insurance Programs, and I'm going to be your instructor for the webinar today, Running a Successful Commercial Agency. So let's talk about some logistics and get started. Everybody, if you know our webinars or if you're new to us, but I'm sure you've taken one before, you're muted. You won't be able to hear, but you won't be able to speak, but you will be able to hear. And we really want to hear from you. So any questions that you have, pose them in the chat room so that we can answer those as we go along. We'll stop during the webinar and answer your question. We'll have a short survey at the end of the webinar, so we'd appreciate your feedback there as well. Okay, let's get started. So, a few things we're going to be talking about, and mainly today we're going to be talking about a new business marketing strategy, and then how that whole process, how you actually put that together. This is the one area that most insurance agencies, especially with commercial, have a difficult time with because you get so wrapped up in the service aspect and handling renewals that agency principals don't always have a plan for writing new business, because you can't rely on renewals alone. You need that new business. So pretty much that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And figuring out those marketing strategies, establishing a budget, looking at your brand, how do you determine your goals and objectives, then make that plan, then how do you manage the marketing, and then you got to reevaluate how you're doing. So let's start with the first place. This is a simple sales equation, but it is I've used the sales equation both. We're a wholesaler, and we use it in our business. And many years ago, when I did commercial insurance at retail level, this is the same equation we used. It's just easy because you have to gather X dates, expiration dates, or prospects, right? And you make an inventory of those and get a lot of them into the hopper, and then you want to make a presentation to each one of those with a proposal of insurance. And then you must follow up and close that deal and bind multiple policies for one insured, or bind the policy proposed. So each of those parts are equally important. If you miss one of those three steps, you may lose the sale. So it obviously has to start at the X date level, where you're gathering expiration dates. If you have no expiration dates, you can't make a presentation and you can't close. So it's really simple, but it really is a great little equation for helping with your new business marketing. So let's talk about some marketing strategies. How do commercial clients learn about you? Well, this is the part where this takes time, and it takes building relationships. So it's being involved in the community. You've got to be willing to reach out and ask for referrals from your existing clients. Do online searching, and then distribute marketing materials into the community. Talk to your customers about services and products. I call that like a cross-sell, so that's another opportunity for building a stronger relationship with your existing clients. Ask prospects about their experiences with your competitors, right? So that you can learn how to differentiate yourself. And then online, you can get data census information for the target markets that you want to go after. And so I encourage you to do research. You can get anything. You can find out anything on the internet these days. So, do we need a budget? How much money? How much time should you spend on marketing? You really have to you really have to think of it as an investment, but it's the lifeblood of, you know, I call the renewals the bread and butter, of the business. You have to have, and I think that the process for renewals is very similar. That sales equation can work for renewals and for new business as well. So it's important to understand, new business is what grows the company. Renewals, are your bread and butter, but you will lose renewals, and so you have to be building new business in order to move, you know, take your policy in force to create a gain in your policies in force. And then knowing, it's like it's not exactly, you're going to have to start somewhere. And on the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit, some suggestions on how to start. But it's not the knowing the exact amount, but it's having and tracking a marketing amount that would be more important. And then secondly, knowing that you have the right budget amount and spend it on the wrong things is not great either. So that's another area, is to really think through where you would what you want to spend that money on. Here's some examples of how you would narrow down a figure. And again, you should have a budget as an agency, and marketing should be 2 to 8% of the gross sales potentially. That's one way to look at it. So if you were a small agency earning $250,000 a year, you'd want to spend at least 2%. Maybe that would be around $5,000 a year on marketing. But you can see that amount can vary, and you want to take a look at what you could afford and start somewhere. The other way to look at it is the lifetime value of a customer. It's the thinking behind. You would identify how much average profit is made during the lifetime of a customer relationship, and take your average lifetime customer relationship and determine how much you're willing to spend to acquire that customer. That's another way, and that's probably going to come down to a percentage as well. So I think using the combination of the two of them is probably a wonderful way to approach it. So let's talk about crafting a brand. And I'm not talking about just your logo. I'm talking about you actually, but you also want to have your logo and your company branding. That part's important, but it goes beyond that. It's what you stand for as a company. What makes you different than other agencies from your competition? What identify the segments that will be most responsive to your unique brand. So when I say segments, I'm talking about classes of business, because remember, commercial has lots of different classes of business, and it's ideal to not just try and be a jack of all trades. It's far better to identify some segments of the classes of business, and focus on those, and then identify how you can be most responsive using your unique brand. And then and you want to be able to highlight your unique differences. That is crucial, and that's part of that proposal and the initial stating, and it's all through. The close has to be. It all has to be used during that sales equation in all of the three parts. So how do you develop that brand? Well, you really need these questions that you have to ask yourself. What will you deliver to customers? What are you being successful at now? What do you want your agency identity to look like? And then what qualities does your brand represent? This all takes time. How will you express your brand to your customers? Well, that definitely should be in your marketing material, in your proposal templates that you use for presentation, because that's you want them to know what makes you different. Because it won't always be price that you where you will lead. That it's your branding becomes super important to identify why they should choose you with aside from price. So also, we want to look at goals and objectives, right? You have to have a plan of what you want to achieve. So what what are you thinking that you want to achieve here? Trying to build awareness in the community about your agency. You're encouraging people to consider doing business with you, offering a quote, making a sale for sure. That's because you got to think all the way to the end game. And then building relationships is so important. It's all about the relationship. When you're bringing new people into your business, they're going to want to do business because of who you are and what your agency represents and the service that you can provide. And then, are you looking to expand your business? Yeah, if you're running an insurance agency, you know, I don't want my company to grow, but super big. I actually like the size of it, but I want to continue. Each year we continue to grow a little bit, and it's just a stable way of running a business. But in order to do that, you have to maintain those renewals and um, watch your retention, making sure that you don't drop off too much business, lose too much business on the renewal side, and that you're constantly monitoring your new business production in order to know that you are outgrowing the unretained renewals and by a certain amount. That's establishing a goal for yourself. And then let's talk a little bit more about it. So making that plan, where is your center of influence? And that's defined as the person or maybe an organization who acts as a sphere of influence within his or her community. So they're recognized as trustworthy and credible, right? And a recommendation from this person is viewed as highly reliable. So leveraging local centers of influence is a key because that's building those relationships and that's a sense having attaching yourself to an organization or individuals that will be your like a referral system for you or that that is doing business with you that actually you can use as a reference or or they actually refer people to you as well. Making a plan, building your local centers of influence. Well, what are those? Again, I'm going to say this. I am a business owner, just like many of you are, and I know that this all takes time. So it's time management becomes a huge consideration in all of this because you have to make time to do new business. And all of you know it. I'm preaching to the choir, but my job here today is to help you understand that that new business is the lifeblood. So you have to make time to build these relationships. We know that the local chamber of commerce, schools, churches, neighborhood associations get involved in charitable and fundraising organizations. And then if you're looking to write commercial buildings, credit unions that's making loans, realtors, car dealerships is more for personal lines, but that's a relationship that you can have. So making a plan, we're still on that. Let's getting started by setting some objectives. Okay, networking. So now we're taking that one step further. You have to get involved, and I'll give you some suggestions on the next slide. But that's securing those relationships to drive the business towards you, and then advertising within your center of influence activities. Commercial marketing. Get involved with the business councils, local associations, hold information sessions at events and meetings, network with local business owners. Now, okay, let's talk turkey here. We've been through a pandemic, and we all know that business has been disrupted for many companies. And I think the insurance business has probably stayed one of the most stable businesses. I know that we've stayed stable as a company and have grown a little bit during it. And so I'm going to assume that you guys have experienced the same thing. However, it's changed how we are going to do business in the future. So I think it's important to be able to think, take time to think through what doing business and how to obtain new business is going to be in the future. The virtual world is now absolutely, changed everything because of the pandemic. And so a lot of your meetings with business owners may not be necessarily in person. However, wherever possible, and you can get back to a normal networking or in-person building relationships in person, there is nothing better than that because people want to shake your hand and meet you and get to know you. But you utilizing the Zooms, the GoToMeetings as a means to more efficiently meet with your clients, maybe even your renewal clients, things like that, is a super efficient way of making that marketing pitch or retaining your renewals, right? And meeting like a second time with someone that you may have met in person once, and then you decide to have your meetings online thereafter. Think about it. That's so. How are you? What method you're going to use for that networking, and then where we can, let's get actively involved in local events and sponsor local events in target industries that you want to write that kind of business for. So this is an interesting part. We started with the sales equation, which is X date. You got to gather your X dates. Then you need to make a presentation to those X dates with an insurance proposal, professional insurance proposal, and then you need to close that, follow up and close, and then bind that policy or policies. So where do we start? We start with the X date. Okay, this is managing your commercial marketing at the very beginning when you're gathering those. So you need to be organized about it. You need to implement an electronic filing system for your risk profiles. So what's a risk profile? A risk profile is gathering the information on that prospect that you're gathering an expiration date for, right? You need to be able to get enough information so that you could go out and get a proposal, or at least enough information if maybe their X date isn't up until March of next year, and so you want to get enough information that you can start to develop a risk profile for them and have maybe an Excel spreadsheet that you're actually um, um, setting up your prospects in, where you know that you can go work those 10 weeks out, and start the marketing process for going after that new business that you have at come. So the Excel spreadsheet would really be sort of a summary area, and then you would have files where any information you've gathered, you just scan it in and then save that file for that prospect with the expiration date. And I would encourage an Excel spreadsheet. You might have an agency management system also that you could actually run this in and keep all your prospects there. But you want to be able to manage by expiration date so that you can um, uh, get to each one of them as they come up for expiration and work them out in advance 10 weeks to just start the process of moving towards making a presentation and closing the sale. The other thing is you want to have that marketing strategy and put it to work. So that is how are you going to what networking are you going to do? What organizations are you going to get involved in? Who is the center of influence for what what the marketing goals that you're trying to establish or actually achieve. And then ideally, you want to look at weekly sales goals for premium and PIF growth. So waiting till and I'm gonna show you a graph. I think that's on the next page, next slide, and that will make sense of that. But weekly for new business is really important. How did you do that week? And then make contacts, data mine. That means you got to reach out to people and you have to take the time. None of us like to do it, right? None of us like to do it. So it's you just have to, and this is perfect timing because this is the time to start getting ready for 2022. I think 2022 is going to be a good year because I think we're going to have a good handle on the pandemic and all those strains that have been coming behind the original one. And it's losing steam, and I think things are going to get back to normal. So it's a good year to develop your marketing plan and implement. And then, as I've been saying all throughout, follow the sales equation. Pay attention to each of those three parts. Expiration, you have to start by gathering X dates, and you have to make a presentation using your electronic filing system, right? And then close it, follow up. So it's always working all three parts, and then you're always moving someone into the beginning portion, right? So it's all of your prospects can be in a different stage at any given time, and you have to just manage that. Okay, so here's what I meant by managing your new business weekly. At our company, we use this. We publish a report every week on how we did. So we call that 52 start dates. So when you do it by month, and by the way, some people don't even look at how much new business they're writing, which is a huge mistake because you're sort of managing your company blindly. You have no idea how you're doing, and then most likely you don't even know how much business you're losing on your renewals. So you have to really take a look at both. But if you only manage your new business monthly, it's hard to turn the ship around when you realize that you didn't write very much the month before, because by the time you get to it, it's about 45 days has gone from the first day of that month, and it's hard to turn it around when it's too much time that's lapsed. So looking at your production weekly gives you 52 start dates rather than 12 start dates, and that is a much more manageable. And it holds yourself and any of your producers accountable for whether they're making progress or not. So manage your new business by week. I think that renewals need to be managed by month, by expiration date, and that you're working usually at least 3 months simultaneously, because some people start at 90 days. You should start at a minimum of 60 days to start a renewal. And again, let me know if you have any questions. So, measuring and refining, questions to ask yourself. Are your marketing strategies building awareness of my agency? And what kind of awareness are you achieving? That's pretty important. Are your marketing efforts reaching the commercial prospects you desire? Well, think about that, because you don't want the bush calls, right? Anything that comes in on the phone is usually someone who's just dialing by number, going down the alphabet, trying to find someone in their local area to assist them with something that may be hard to place. That usually is the type of business. So it's obviously that marketing plan becomes super important, because you want those referrals. You want those centers of influence that are going to be, your source, or a reference in the community that can help you get well known for your brand. But you want to attract the business you desire. So it's because you write crap business, it's not going to stay on the books. And the goal is to have business stay on the books long term. Have I identified the needs of the prospective commercial prospects in my market? That's something that you really have to take a look at. And if you're going to focus on a particular class of business, you need to know what their needs are, and be able to communicate that clearly and concisely in your insurance proposal to that prospect. So in closing, it's really important to have both new business and renewals 50-50 attention paid to them. It's so important, and most agencies fall short of that. And that's if you really want to be successful at what you're doing, that's the direction you need to go in. And it just takes time and effort, and time management becomes an important tool. So I want to thank you all for joining us here today. And if you please visit our website, cidinsurance.com. We have lots of tools. We have lots of proposal templates. We have marketing flyers on lots of classes of business that you can customize and put your own information on. And they're super valuable. You can use those with renewals and to solicit new business. We would love to do business with you. For those of you who are not familiar with us, our underwriters are very knowledgeable. We answer our phones, answer our emails, and we've got quick turnarounds with our the applications that you submit to turn around quotes for you in a very timely manner. So we are here to serve you, and again, there's lots of webinars on our website that you could watch over and over again, lots on different types of coverages and different classes of business and the coverages that they need. So please reach out to us, and Jacob will be sending out this webinar and the PowerPoint so that you have it and can take another look at it if you like to. It will also be posted on the website, so you can go back and listen to it again if you like. So I just look forward to doing some business with you, and thank you. I want to thank those of you that are already doing business with us for the business that we do together. So thank you again for joining us, and have a wonderful day.